The year is 2025. The world is more interconnected than ever before. But this interconnectedness comes at a price. Cyber threats loom large. The threats are more sophisticated and damaging. Countless entry points for malicious actors. In this hyper-connected world, cybersecurity is not cooperation to combat cybercrime. Defend their networks and data. Individuals hands a proactive and adaptive approach, one that anticipates threats, mitigates vulnerabilities, and ensures resilience in the face of attacks. Governments around the world are grappling with the challenge of securing cyberspace. They are strengthening their national cybersecurity strategies, investing in cutting-edge technologies, and fostering international cooperation to combat cybercrime. However, the global nature of cyberspace makes it difficult to establish clear lines of responsibility and jurisdiction. Businesses are on the front lines of this digital battle. They face constant pressure to innovate and adopt new technologies, often at the expense of security. Many organizations struggle to keep pace with the evolving threat landscape, lacking the resources, expertise, and awareness to effectively defend their networks and data. Individuals, too, are targets. Cybercriminals prey on our trust, using social engineering techniques to steal our identities, compromise our devices, and gain access to our financial accounts. As our lives become increasingly digital, it is more important than ever to be aware of the risks and take steps to protect ourselves online. The consequences of cyber attacks can be devastating. Means that an attack on one can quickly cascade financial losses, reputational damage, and loss of customer trust. For governments, cyber attacks can disrupt critical infrastructure, undermine national security, and erode public confidence. For individuals, the impact can be equally severe, leading to identity theft, financial ruin, and emotional distress. The interconnected nature of our world means that an attack on one can quickly cascade and impact many. A cyber attack on a major financial institution, for example, could trigger a global economic crisis. A successful breach of a power grid could plunge entire cities into darkness. And the theft of sensitive government data could have far-reaching geopolitical consequences. As we become increasingly reliant on technology, the stakes will only continue to rise. The cybersecurity challenges we face are complex and stable cyberspace. Businesses must make state. We can significantly reduce our risk of becoming individuals can create a more secure and resilient digital world. Governments must provide leadership and direction, establishing clear cybersecurity policies, investing in research and development, and fostering international cooperation. They must also hold malicious actors accountable for their actions, deterring future attacks and promoting a more stable cyberspace. Businesses must make cybersecurity a top priority, integrating it into their overall risk management strategies. They need to invest in robust security technologies, develop comprehensive incident response plans, and educate their employees about cybersecurity best practices. Individuals have a critical role to play as well. By practicing good cyber hygiene, such as using strong passwords, being wary of phishing scams, and keeping software up to date, we can significantly reduce our risk of becoming victims of cybercrime. The year 2025 marks a turning point in the powers, vying for economic and military dominance when cyber attacks were primarily the domain of individual hackers or small criminal groups seeking financial gain. Today, we face a new breed of adversary nation-states with sophisticated cyber capabilities, intent on disrupting critical infrastructure, stealing intellectual property, and sowing discord within our borders. The geopolitical landscape is fraught with tension. Global powers, vying for economic and military dominance, increasingly view cyberspace as a new theater of warfare. Cyber attacks, once considered a relatively low-risk, high-reward endeavor, have become a tool of statecraft, employed to achieve strategic objectives without resorting to conventional military force. The lines between peace and war have blurred. Cyber attacks can cripple a nation's infrastructure, disrupt its economy, and undermine its social fabric without a single shot being fired. The 2024 U.S. presidential election sent to bolstering defenses at home. The approach risks alienating allies and undermining a first agenda and unpredictable foreign policy has introduced a new level of uncertainty into the cybersecurity landscape. The administration's focus on domestic security and its skepticism of international cooperation have led to a shift in national cybersecurity priorities. Resources have been redirected from global cyber initiatives to bolstering defenses at home. The administration has also taken a more aggressive stance towards perceived adversaries in cyberspace, authorizing retaliatory cyber attacks and imposing sanctions on countries accused of cyber espionage. These policy changes have been met with mixed reactions. Some argue that a stronger domestic focus is necessary to protect critical infrastructure and safeguard national interests. Others contend that the administration's unilateral approach risks alienating allies and undermining international efforts to combat cybercrime. One of the most significant developments in the wake of the 2020 cybersecurity workforce. The strategy also National Cybersecurity Strategy. The new strategy, unveiled in early 2025, reflects the administration's priorities and its vision for a more secure America in the digital age. The strategy emphasizes a layered approach to cybersecurity, with a focus on prevention, detection, and response. It calls for increased investment in cybersecurity research and development, as well as the expansion of the cybersecurity workforce. The strategy also emphasizes the importance of public-private partnerships, recognizing that the government cannot address the cybersecurity challenge alone. However, the strategy has also drawn criticism for its perceived emphasis on government control and its lack of clarity on key issues such as encryption and data privacy. Section 4. The Department of Government Efficiency, Cybersecurity Posture, by consolidating IT, making the government more vulnerable to large. The Trump administration has created a new agency, the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, tasked with consolidating IT systems and centralizing cybersecurity operations across the federal government. DOGE represents both an opportunity and a risk. On the one hand, DOGE has the potential to significantly improve the government's cybersecurity posture. By consolidating IT systems, DOGE can reduce the attack surface and implement more consistent security controls. Centralizing cybersecurity operations allows for better coordination and information sharing, enabling the government to respond more effectively to cyber threats. On the other hand, DOGE's creation has introduced new challenges and vulnerabilities. The consolidation of IT systems has created a single point of failure, making the government more vulnerable to large-scale cyber attacks. The transition to DOGE has also been plagued by technical difficulties and bureaucratic hurdles, leading to delays and disruptions in critical government services. Section 5. A seismic shift in international has led to a decline in international cooperation on the first approach has had a profound impact on international cyber relations. The administration has withdrawn from key international agreements, imposed tariffs on allies, and engaged in public spats with foreign leaders. This has created an atmosphere of mistrust and uncertainty, making it more difficult to address shared cyber threats. The administration's skepticism of multilateralism has led to a decline in international cooperation on cybersecurity issues. The U.S. has scaled back its participation in international forums, such as the United Nations Group of Governmental Experts on Cybersecurity, and has been reluctant to share intelligence with allies. Section 6. The domestic front balancing security, arguing that this is necessary to prevent terrorism challenges of cybersecurity, it must also contend with the growing public debate over privacy and surveillance. The administration's push for stronger cybersecurity measures has raised concerns about government overreach and the potential for abuse. The debate over encryption is particularly contentious. The administration has called for law enforcement agencies to have access to encrypted communications, arguing that this is necessary to prevent terrorism and other crimes. Privacy advocates, however, argue that weakening encryption would make everyone more vulnerable to cyber attacks and would erode trust in the internet. The government's use of surveillance technologies is another area of concern. The administration has expanded the use of facial recognition technology and other surveillance tools, raising concerns about the erosion of civil liberties. The establishment of the Department of Government Efficiency and enhance the government's overall security posture, systems, and risk tolerances. While this and uncertainty, tasked with consolidating IT infrastructure and centralizing security operations across the vast expanse of the federal government, DOGE represents a paradigm shift in how the U.S. government approaches cybersecurity. The vision behind DOGE is clear: to streamline operations, reduce costs, and enhance the government's overall security posture. By consolidating disparate IT systems and bringing them under a single umbrella, DOGE aims to reduce the attack surface, eliminate redundancies, and implement more consistent security controls across all federal agencies. This centralized approach to cybersecurity marks a significant departure from the previous model, where individual agencies operated largely independently, each with their own security protocols, systems, and risk tolerances. While this decentralized approach allowed for a degree of flexibility, it also resulted in inconsistencies, vulnerabilities, and a lack of coordination that adversaries could exploit. DOGE's mandate extends beyond simply consolidating IT systems. It also encompasses the centralization of cybersecurity operations, including threat intelligence sharing, incident response, and vulnerability management. The transition to DOGE has not been without its challenger. This migration process has required meticulous or disrupt government operations. DOGE, each with its own legacy infrastructure, security protocols, and data management practices, is a monumental undertaking fraught with technical hurdles and security risks. One of the most significant challenges has been ensuring the seamless transfer of data and applications from agency-specific systems to the centralized DOGE infrastructure. This migration process has required meticulous planning, coordination, and technical expertise to minimize downtime, prevent data loss, and maintain the integrity of critical government services. Security concerns have been paramount throughout the transition process. The consolidation of sensitive data from multiple agencies into a centralized repository has created a high-value target for cybercriminals and nation-state actors seeking to gain unauthorized access to classified information or disrupt government operations. DOGE has had to implement robust security controls to safeguard data during migration, including encryption, access controls, and intrusion detection systems. The agency has also had to contend with the challenge of managing user identities and access privileges across a vast and complex network, ensuring that only authorized personnel have access to sensitive information. Central to DOGE's mission is the establishment of serves as the nerve center for federal cybersecurity, is the ability to share threat intelligence and best analyzing and responding to cyber threats across the entire federal government. This centralized CSOC represents a significant departure from the previous model, where individual agencies were responsible for their own security operations, often with varying levels of sophistication and resources. The DOGE CSOC serves as the nerve center for federal cybersecurity, providing a comprehensive view of the threat landscape and enabling a coordinated response to cyber incidents. Equipped with advanced security information and event management systems, threat intelligence platforms, and security analytics tools, the CSOC provides real-time visibility into potential threats and vulnerabilities across the federal government's vast IT infrastructure. One of the key advantages of a centralized CSOC is the ability to share threat intelligence and best practices across all federal agencies. This allows for a more coordinated and effective response to emerging threats, as agencies can learn from each other's experiences and leverage shared resources to bolster their defenses. The DOGE CSOC also plays a critical role in incident response, providing a centralized point of contact for agencies experiencing cyber attacks. Section 4. The human element. Cybersecurity workforce capable of managing the complexities of a central, as well as internal training and certification programs, but also on the expertise and dedication of its cybersecurity workforce. The consolidation of IT and security operations under DOGE has created both challenges and opportunities for attracting, developing, and retaining top cybersecurity talent within the federal government. One of the key challenges has been the need to recruit and train a workforce capable of managing the complexities of a centralized cybersecurity infrastructure. DOGE has had to compete with the private sector for skilled cybersecurity professionals, offering competitive salaries, benefits, and opportunities for professional growth. To address the growing demand for skilled cybersecurity professionals, DOGE has implemented a number of workforce development initiatives, including partnerships with universities and technical schools to develop specialized cybersecurity training programs, as well as internal training and certification programs to enhance the skills of existing government employees. DOGE has also recognized the importance of fostering a culture of cybersecurity awareness and responsibility across the entire federal workforce. Adapting to a new cybersecurity landscape. Significant regulatory shifts are reshaping the cybersecurity landscape. The review of the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act, or CISA, addresses privacy and liability concerns. Streamlining regulations for critical infrastructure is essential for national security. DHS collaborates with industry to develop tailored cybersecurity guidelines. Section 6. Compliance in the crosshairs, limited resources. One of the key challenges same security standards as their own internal systems by some in the business community. It has also created a degree of uncertainty for organizations struggling to keep pace with evolving cybersecurity requirements. Navigating the complex web of federal and state regulations, each with its own set of requirements and reporting obligations, can be a daunting task, particularly for small and medium-sized businesses with limited resources. One of the key challenges has been the lack of clarity regarding which regulations apply to specific organizations. The patchwork of sector-specific regulations, coupled with overlapping federal and state laws, has created confusion and ambiguity for businesses trying to determine their compliance obligations. The increasing use of third-party vendors and cloud services has further complicated compliance efforts, as organizations grapple with the challenge of ensuring that their vendors meet the same security standards as their own internal systems. Data breaches at third-party vendors can have a significant impact on an organization's reputation and bottom line, highlighting the need for robust vendor risk management programs. Section 7. A new era of accountability of over 147 million people. Enforcement of existing cybersecurity regulatory landscape have ushered in a new era of accountability for cybersecurity. The government is increasingly holding organizations responsible for maintaining a strong security posture, and the consequences for failing to do so are becoming more severe. The Equifax data breach of 2017, which exposed the personal information of over 147 million people, served as a wake-up call, highlighting the devastating consequences of inadequate cybersecurity practices. The breach resulted in significant financial losses for Equifax, as well as reputational damage and a loss of customer trust. It also sparked a wave of lawsuits and regulatory investigations, leading to significant fines and penalties. In the wake of the Equifax breach and other high-profile cyber attacks, The government has stepped up enforcement of existing cybersecurity regulations and has shown a greater willingness to hold organizations accountable for failing to protect sensitive data. This has included imposing hefty fines on companies that fail to comply with data breach notification laws and holding executives personally liable for cybersecurity lapses. Section 1. The Global Cyber Chessboard, Ambiguity and Uncertainty. Traditional landscape of 2025 is inextricably intertwined with the complexities of geopolitics. The global chessboard has transformed into a digital battleground where nation-states engage in a high-stakes game of cyber espionage, economic warfare, and information operations. The rules of engagement in this new cyber domain remain ill-defined, creating an environment of ambiguity and uncertainty. Traditional notions of sovereignty are challenged as cyber attacks transcend borders with ease, leaving nations grappling with how to respond to acts of aggression in cyberspace. The rise of cyber powers like China and Russia has shifted the balance of power in the digital realm. These nations possess sophisticated cyber capabilities and have demonstrated a willingness to use them to advance their strategic interests, often in ways that challenge the existing international order. Section 2. The Rise of Cyber Nationalism. Concerns about economic espionage and the environment for malicious actors, emboldening them to rise in cyber nationalism, leading to fragmentation and friction in the international system. Nations are increasingly prioritizing their own cybersecurity interests over collective action, erecting digital barriers and engaging in tit-for-tat cyber attacks. This trend towards cyber balkanization is driven by a number of factors, including a lack of trust between nations, concerns about economic espionage, and fears of foreign interference in domestic affairs. As nations become more reliant on digital technologies for critical infrastructure, economic activity, and national security, they are becoming more sensitive to the potential for disruption and exploitation. The proliferation of cyber weapons and the difficulty in attributing cyber attacks have further exacerbated tensions. The lack of clear norms and rules of behavior in cyberspace has created a permissive environment for malicious actors, emboldening them to act with impunity. China has emerged as a dominant force in the global cyber, invests heavily in military cyber capabilities and economic might. China's cyber capabilities have grown exponentially, fueled by massive government investment and a thriving technology sector. China's strategy includes economic espionage, military modernization, and information control. Accused of widespread intellectual property theft, China targets businesses, universities, and government agencies. China invests heavily in military cyber capabilities, developing advanced cyber weapons and doctrines. Domestically, China controls information flow and suppresses dissent through the Great Firewall. The European Union, grappling with cybersecurity challenges, establishing agencies like ENISA and the NIS Directory, seeking to assert its independence and reduce reliance on external actors, driven by concerns about data privacy, economic competitiveness, and national security. The EU has been at the forefront of regulating tech giants, implementing strict data protection regulations and antitrust measures. The EU has also bolstered its cybersecurity capabilities, establishing agencies like ENISA and the NIS Directive. Russia remains a significant and unpredictable acting election interference disinformation campaigns aiming to influence voters and undermine confidence in aggressive cyber operations and its disregard for international norms. Russia's cyber strategy is deeply intertwined with its geopolitical ambitions, employing cyber means to undermine adversaries, sow discord, and advance its interests on the world stage. Russia has been implicated in a wide range of malicious cyber activities, including election interference disinformation campaigns and cyber attacks against critical infrastructure. Russia's cyber operatives are highly skilled and resourceful, operating with a high degree of sophistication and stealth. Russia's cyber doctrine emphasizes information warfare, seeking to manipulate public opinion, undermine trust in democratic institutions, and sow chaos within adversary societies. Russia's disinformation campaigns have targeted elections around the world, aiming to influence voters and undermine confidence in democratic processes. Russia has also demonstrated its willingness to use cyber attacks as a tool of coercion and retaliation. Following the imposition of Western sanctions in response to its annexation of Crimea, Russia retaliated with a series of cyber attacks against Ukrainian infrastructure, demonstrating its willingness to use cyber means to inflict real-world damage. Section 6. The Russia-Ukraine port. This conflict highlights the growing importance there. The Russia-Ukraine conflict illustrates the evolving nature of warfare, with cyber operations playing a central role. Both sides have launched cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure and government systems. Russia's invasion in 2022 included DDoS attacks, crippling government websites and disrupting internet services. Ukraine has mounted a spirited cyber defense with Western support. This conflict highlights the growing importance of cyber capabilities in modern warfare. Section 7. Cyber diplomacy in slow, with nations struggling to reconcile competing. The escalating cyber tensions highlight the urgent need for effective cyber diplomacy and clear international norms. Efforts to build consensus are hampered by mistrust and diverging national interests. The United Nations debates issues like the applicability of international law to cyberspace and the prohibition of cyber attacks against critical infrastructure. Progress is slow, with nations struggling to reconcile competing interests. Some nations resist binding norms, citing national sovereignty. The lack of clear norms creates a dangerous vacuum, increasing the risk of miscalculation and escalation. Section 1. DOGE. Consolidating sensitive data into one entity inadvertently. The Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, aimed to solve federal cybersecurity issues but became a cautionary tale. Despite consolidating IT infrastructure, DOGE faced criticism for high-profile security incidents and operational challenges. Critics argue DOGE's centralized structure created a single point of failure, making it a high-value target. Consolidating sensitive data into one entity inadvertently attracted cybercriminals and nation-state actors. Section 2. The perils of consolidation. Risks of consolidation is the creation of a single P. However, in a consolidated environment, it is a stark reminder of the perils of consolidation in the cybersecurity realm. While consolidating IT systems and centralizing security operations can offer economies of scale and streamline processes, it also creates systemic risks that can amplify the impact of security breaches and operational failures. One of the key risks of consolidation is the creation of a single point of failure. By consolidating multiple systems into a single entity, DOGE has increased the potential impact of a successful cyber attack. A single compromised system or account could provide attackers with access to a vast network of interconnected systems and sensitive data. Moreover, consolidation can mask underlying security vulnerabilities. When agencies operate independently, security breaches are often contained within the affected agency. However, in a consolidated environment, a breach in one part of the system can quickly spread to others, potentially affecting multiple agencies and critical government functions. Consolidation can also lead to a false sense of security. Section 3. Access control nightmares. Overwhelmed DOGE's IT staff. This is creating access control across DOGE's vast IT infrastructure is a Herculean task. Ensuring only authorized personnel have access is fraught with technical hurdles and human error. The consolidation of multiple agencies has created a labyrinthine system of permissions. Inconsistencies in data classification and user roles further complicate efforts. The volume of user accounts and access requests has overwhelmed DOGE's IT staff. This has created opportunities for unauthorized access. Section 4. System integration headaches. A symphony of incompatibility. Integrating disparate IT systems of federal agencies has proven to be a monumental headache for DOGE. The lack of standardization has created a nightmare scenario for system integration. This has resulted in data silos, integration challenges, and security vulnerabilities. Legacy systems introduce security risks and are often riddled with vulnerabilities. Section 5. The insider threat metamorphosis, making it more difficult to monitor employee activity. DOGE, with its vast workforce to remote work, have had a profound impact on the cybersecurity landscape, accelerating existing trends and introducing new challenges for organizations of all sizes, including DOGE. The proliferation of remote work has expanded the attack surface, blurred the lines between personal and professional devices, and eroded traditional security perimeters, making it more difficult to monitor employee activity, protect sensitive data, and mitigate insider threats. The rise of remote work has also had a psychological impact, increasing feelings of isolation, stress, and disengagement among employees. This erosion of trust and morale has created fertile ground for insider threats, as disgruntled or financially motivated employees may be more likely to steal data, sabotage systems, or collude with external actors. DOGE, with its vast workforce and reliance on sensitive data, has been particularly vulnerable to the evolving insider threat. The agency has struggled to adapt its security policies and practices to the realities of remote work, leaving it vulnerable to data breaches, espionage, and other forms of insider malfeasance. Section 6. Data breaches. Breaches have also expanded, from financial institution losses, reputational damage, legal liability, affecting organizations of all sizes and sectors. The methods used by cybercriminals and nation-state actors to steal data have become increasingly sophisticated, leveraging advanced technologies, social engineering, and vulnerabilities in human behavior to gain unauthorized access to sensitive information. The targets of data breaches have also expanded, from financial institutions and retailers to healthcare providers, government agencies, and critical infrastructure operators. The data being targeted is no longer limited to credit card numbers and social security numbers. It now encompasses a wide range of sensitive information, including intellectual property, trade secrets, personal health information, and national security secrets. The impact of data breaches has become more severe, leading to financial losses, reputational damage, legal liabilities, and the erosion of public trust. In some cases, data breaches have even threatened national security, as adversaries have gained access to classified information or disrupted critical infrastructure. DOGE, with its vast repository of sensitive government data, has been a prime target for data breaches. AI transforms the cyber threat landscape. Vigilant users. Deepfakes spread disinformation for both cybercriminals and cybersecurity professionals. AI's ability to analyze data and automate tasks transforms cyber threats, increasing sophistication and speed. Cybercriminals exploit AI to automate attacks and evade detection. AI-powered malware adapts in real time, bypassing traditional security measures. AI makes phishing attacks more convincing, tricking vigilant users. Deepfakes spread disinformation, eroding trust in online content. Social engineering, the art of manipulating individuals' interests, habits, and vulnerabilities, and building rapport to extract sensitive information charged by AI, enabling attackers to launch highly targeted and convincing attacks that exploit human psychology and vulnerabilities. AI-powered social engineering attacks leverage vast amounts of data from social media, online profiles, and other sources to create detailed profiles of potential victims, identifying their interests, habits, and vulnerabilities. This information is then used to craft personalized messages, tailor phishing emails, and even generate synthetic voice recordings that mimic trusted individuals, increasing the likelihood of success. AI's ability to analyze and interpret human emotions and behavior further enhances social engineering attacks. AI-powered chatbots, for example, can engage in real-time conversations with potential victims, mimicking human empathy and building rapport to extract sensitive information or manipulate individuals into performing actions that compromise security. The rise of AI-powered social engineering poses a significant challenge for cybersecurity professionals, as traditional security awareness training, which often relies on identifying generic phishing emails or suspicious links, is no longer sufficient to protect against these highly targeted and sophisticated attacks. As cybercriminals increasingly leverage AI to enhance and correlating events to uncover complex attacks, AI is also playing an increasingly tools and technologies to bolster their defenses, automate security tasks, and gain an edge in the ongoing cyber arms race. AI-driven security information and event management, or CM, systems can analyze vast amounts of security data from various sources in real time, identifying anomalies, detecting suspicious activity, and correlating events to uncover complex attack patterns that would be impossible for human analysts to detect. AI-powered endpoint detection and response, or EDR, solutions provide enhanced protection for individual devices, using machine learning algorithms to identify and block malicious activity, even from previously unknown threats. These solutions can isolate infected devices, quarantine malicious files, and automatically remediate threats, limiting the impact of attacks. AI is also playing an increasingly important role in threat intelligence, enabling security researchers to analyze vast amounts of data from open sources, dark web forums, and other sources to identify emerging threats, track adversary tactics, and develop proactive defenses. While AI offers tremendous potential for enhancing increasingly sophisticated AI-powered tools and tech comes, such as AI-powered security systems, both threats and defenses. As AI technologies become more powerful and accessible, it is crucial to consider the ethical implications and potential for misuse. One concern is that the widespread adoption of AI in cybersecurity could lead to an AI arms race, with attackers and defenders constantly trying to outmaneuver each other with increasingly sophisticated AI-powered tools and techniques. This could result in a perpetual cycle of escalation, with each side developing more powerful AI systems, potentially leading to unintended consequences and collateral damage. Another concern is the potential for AI bias. AI systems are only as good as the data they are trained on, and if this data reflects existing biases, the AI system will perpetuate and even amplify these biases. This could lead to discriminatory outcomes, such as AI-powered security systems that disproportionately target certain individuals or groups. Cybersecurity in the age of distributed workforces. The shift to remote work has expanded the attack surface, as employees access sensitive data from personal devices and home networks. This has created new opportunities for cybercriminals, exploiting vulnerabilities in home routers and personal devices. Organizations have adapted by implementing multi-factor authentication and virtual private networks to secure remote access. Section 6, the insider threat evolution from operations or disrupt critical infrastructure. Vendors and other third parties with access to corporate employees acting alone has evolved into a more complex and insidious threat, often involving sophisticated networks of individuals motivated by financial gain, ideology, or a desire to inflict harm. These insider threats leverage their privileged access to sensitive data and systems to steal intellectual property, sabotage operations, or disrupt critical infrastructure. The rise of remote work has exacerbated the insider threat, as organizations have less visibility into employee activity, making it more difficult to detect and deter malicious behavior. The increased use of personal devices and cloud-based services has further complicated efforts to monitor data access and prevent unauthorized data exfiltration. Insider threats are no longer limited to employees. They now encompass contractors, vendors, and other third parties with access to corporate networks and data. These external actors may be compromised by malicious actors or be motivated by financial gain to steal or sell sensitive information. Combating the evolving insider threat requires a multi-layered approach that combines technology, people, and processes. Strategic planning for cybersecurity in 2025 and beyond. A reactive approach is no longer sufficient. Organizations must adopt a proactive mindset, anticipating threats and building resilience. Cybersecurity is a strategic imperative that permeates every facet of the organization. Effective cybersecurity demands a multi-layered approach addressing both technical and human elements. A shared responsibility, forging a united front against cyber threats. Cybersecurity is a shared responsibility that transcends borders and sectors. Governments, businesses, and individuals must work collaboratively against cyber threats. Governments establish secure cyberspace, foster cooperation, and develop standards. Businesses must implement robust measures and educate employees. Individuals play a role by practicing good cyber hygiene. The future of cybersecurity. Embracing important. Organizations must adapt strategies. The cybersecurity landscape of 2025 and beyond will be characterized by constant change. Organizations must embrace innovation, adaptability, and resilience. Innovation is crucial for staying ahead of evolving cyber threats. Investing in AI, machine learning, and quantum computing enhances defenses. Adaptability is equally important. Organizations must adapt strategies to address new threats. Resilience is paramount. Organizations must build resilience to withstand and recover from attacks.